up, guys, and welcome to the Players' Championship preview. Got a stacked field here this week, so let's not waste any time. Get right into it. Got a nice course. We got the famous par 3. Never been a boring tournament, but very tough to get 6 to 6 through the cut. So this is what we're going to go. Jon Rahm has been on fire with everything but the putter. Even when he doesn't look like he's playing good, his worst finish is T21. So I don't know how you're not interested by Jon Rahm. So I'll definitely have some of him this week. Not playing Rory. This doesn't seem like his kind of track. I know he's been good, but I thought he was going to be able to back himself up after that 65, and the wheels fell off. Collin Morikawa, he's just so good. I don't know how you don't play him. At least a little bit here. So I'm going to have a lot of Morikawa. So good with his irons. Just needs to be able to putt. And if he putts, he could win this tournament very easily. The one thing we got to know is that the conditions are going to be tough, is what we think. But if it's going to be easy, you should probably build lineups where you think it's going to be a birdie fest. So you build all guys who can score. If you think it's going to be tough, you want to go with some of these Euros like Rahm, Hovland, or something like that. So let's keep going. Justin Thomas. I never play him. He won last year, and the track record of defending champions are not good here, so I'm not going to play Justin Thomas. Even though he's, he can't drive the ball. That's the problem. He could drive the ball, I'd feel a little bit more confident. Hovland was really good. Probably should have won last week. I'm not going to play him again. I know he's been really good. It's going to be a hard fade, but I'm going to have to just make a stand and fade him because he struggles getting up and down from the sand. So hopefully he gets in the sand a lot and I don't have to deal with him. Patrick Cantley, the world's boringest golfer of all time. He's only good really in you could say in California, although at the end of the season he was really good in Georgia for the FedEx Cup final, but I want to pick him, but he's just so hard to root for. And, he's a really good golfer, so he's going to be a last-minute decision for me. Not playing Dustin Johnson. He was chalk at the Genesis, was horrible. I'm going to wait and see. I just can't. He's another guy. He's just so boring. Can't root for him. If he's not exciting, it's hard to play. Xander. I always play Xander Schauffele. He's been really good. I'm not playing Xander this week. I'm not doing it. He's a California guy. Doesn't have a really good history at this course, and that's going to steer me off of him. Hideki. Hideki's been interesting. If he can, we saw that the COVID year he shot 8 under. You never know how that was going to finish. Maybe he could do something like that this week, but if the winds blow and it's really wet and rainy, I'm not sure if I'm going to like Hideki as much. Cam Smith, another guy I usually always play. I don't think I'm going to play him this week. He seems a little overpriced. I know he has decent course history, but I'm not going to play Cam Smith. He's just too wild off the tee, and if you get wild off the tee here, forget about it. Next guy, the guy's been on fire, and he really is underpriced. Like, he should not be, 1,200 under Justin Thomas, Scotty Scheffler. I'm going to have a lot of him this week. 2 wins in his last 3. Doesn't really have a weakness to his game. He was draining all those important par putts. That's what you need. So if it's going to get difficult and windy, you're going to want to play Scotty Scheffler and hope that the carnage happens. That's the guy you want. So I'm going to have a lot of him this week. Jordan Spieth, another guy who's just wild off the tee. Doesn't really do well here, so I'm going to pass on him. Will Zalatoris, he's not a winner. He can't putt. Too skinny, so I'm going to pass on Zalatoris. He's too overrated right now, and until he wins, I'm not going to play him. Berger's a really interesting one. Probably should have won the Honda. Forgot how to play in the final round when it was tough. I think you can go back. He's underpriced. He shouldn't be cheaper than Zalatoris and Spieth. That's just disrespectful. So I think you got to have some Berger this week. Louis, he still hasn't won in America, Louis, and everyone loves Louis, but I'm going to fade Louis until it's a major. Wait and see on him. Brooks Brooks is GPP, but I mean, I'll play some Brooks. I mean, he hasn't been bad. 8,600 for a guy who can just win like that. You know, he loves these big tournaments. You want to play Brooks when it matters, so this is where you want to play some Brooks. Tony Finau's horrible. He's been horrible. I'm not playing Tony Finau. He got me too many times already. Neiman's been kind of on, he won, and then he missed the cut. I'm not really worried about that. I think you want it to be a little easier, though, if Neiman wins. So you want him in the builds where you think a minus 15 is going to win, not if like minus 8 is going to win. Sungjae loves Florida golf. I think he's too cheap here. You know, we usually see Sungjae 9, 10K coming off of a tied 20th finish. Fell off at the end. Another guy, though, if it gets tough, I don't think you want Sungjae, but if it's easy, you know, minus 15, minus 20, you want Sungjae for sure. Adam Scott, it's been really good. I might have some Adam Scott this week. His ball striking is really good. You just hope that he can sweep that broomstick and, you know, get you on your merry way. Billy Ho, so unlikable, so hard to root for. Another guy who could have won last week. He's been really good. Florida guy. I might have to have him this week as much as it pains me. He's been so good. And, you know, he gets those magic. He gets that luck a lot. So you have to, you know, instead of rooting against the guy, you hope that you can have that magic this week. Shane Lowry. So this is a guy I think is my favorite play of the whole week. You know, last week I said Fitzpatrick was my favorite. He came, I believe, tied for 9th. Shane Lowry got absolutely screwed by just a monsoon of rain. That's why he probably didn't win the Honda. He's probably going to come out firing, has pretty good history here. If it gets tough, I like him even more. You want it to be tough. Shane Lowry, Irish guy, loves the wind. I think Shane Lowry is way too cheap for a guy who can just win just like that. Sam Burns, we saw some life from him. I mean, he is in a good spot. I don't know if, you know, he's another one that's just like GPP for me. I don't think I could have him in a main build. Tyrell Hatton has horrible course history. It's been really good. The course history really does scare me. I don't think he's made a cut here. So that's, you know, if he showed any life, I'd be interested. Matt Fitzpatrick, my next guy here, 7,700 is way too cheap for a guy who's just, you know, if you didn't want to watch his shot tracker last week, he wasn't making birdies at all, but, you know, 7,700 is really cheap for a guy who's usually really good with the putter and get up and down. If you want it to be hard, you want the wind to be blowing. I'm going to have a lot of Matt Fitzpatrick again this week. Webb Simpson, you haven't seen him. Apparently there's like no odds and like matchups, so we don't even know if he's going to play. He withdrew for some reason for something else. So, I mean, if we knew Webb was 100% ready to go, I think he'd be pretty good play here. But he kind of scares me not knowing what his situation is. Abe Answer. So this is a guy, if it's easy, you know, the wind's not blowing too much, I like him a lot. If it's like a -8 type thing, I'm scared of him. So he's a guy you have to wait and see the weather. We see if it's going to be tough, no thanks. Homa, no, it's not California. You know, people were on Homa last week. Did all right, but I don't think he's going to do well this week, you know. Mark Leishman, I played him last week, and he really did break my heart on the weekend. I mean, all you need to do was, like, not shoot 6 over, whatever it was on the weekend. I mean, it was just so hurtful. I don't know if I can go back. I know he missed the cut last year here. He has made every cut, but, I mean, when you make a cut and you're tied for 68th, what's really the point of even making the cut? Jason Day, you know, his mom died, unfortunately. It's tough to see. I don't know if I want to play him. You know, I would be interested in him, but maybe a good showdown play. GPP, he shouldn't be that high owned at all. Tommy Fleetwood finally showed some life. I said I wasn't going to play him in the video. I did play some Tommy. He got the job done. I'm not going to go to him this week. Even if it is tough, I don't want Tommy. Next, Gary Woodland, another guy who he wishes he could have had 17 back last week because he threw his whole tournament away in the bunker. I kind of do like Gary Woodland. I'm not usually on him. He should be really low owned. I mean, this 7,400 range is full of decisions to be made. You got Woodland, Sergio, Fleetwood, and Casey and Henley. Casey's probably going to be like 35% owned because he just shouldn't be 7,400. So, if you're playing cash, Casey's a lock. He's going to be first guy you pull up in an optimizer. So, but I like Sergio a lot. He was good last year here. Just hope he can putt because he can do everything else good. He battled to make the cut last week, shot a 70. I like Sergio as a really good pivot off of chalky Paul Casey. I played Paul Casey, shot like 400 on the weekend, 77.83. I mean, maybe that form carries into this week and we'll get 6-6 percentage low and we'll be on the high road fading a scary, cheap Paul Casey. Henley, no thanks. I know he's been okay. He's made every cut. This field just seems too hard. I know he contended in a couple of majors last year, and I know this isn't a major, but pass on Henley. Justin Rose, another guy who broke my heart last week, missed the cut. I might go back. He has the game. I think you want it to be tough for him too, though, if he's gonna contend. Si Woo, I know he's a past winner, but I'm going to pass. Fat Pat is just absolutely horrendous at golf. My goodness. I mean, no way. Tringali, no way. Poulter was on him last week. I talked him up. Did all right. He started off hot. You want it to be somewhat tough here. I like him. Another guy I really, really like this week, Corey Connors. I mean, it was tough for him last week. Even if it's easy or hard, he's in contention. I really like Corey Connors. I liked him last week, played him, like him this week. I think he's going to be a good pivot again off of Casey. This range is where you have to make decisions. Casey's going to be chalk. Probably Fitzpatrick might be chalk. So you have to make a decision. Play guys like Ian Poulter, Corey Connors, Kokrak. Thought he was going to miss the cut, and then everyone decided to be horrible, so he got in. I don't know if I can bear watching his shot tracker for another week, so I'm not sure if I'll be in on Kokrak. Power, I'm not playing. He was horrible, and if it's tough, he's going to just be lost. Cam Young, no. I know he keeps being good. He keeps getting there. One of these times he's going to miss the cut. I will never forget the first and only time I played Cam Young. Shot 80 on the second day of the U.S. Open, and ever since then, he scarred me. Not going to play Cam Champ, Thigala, no. Luke List, can't putt, missed the cut because he couldn't putt. So I'm not going to play him at a place where, need that. Gooch. So Gooch is in the final group. He's really underpriced. Another guy who's going to be chalk for sure. Him and Casey, definitely a chalk of the low sevens. I think you can make the argument to not play Gooch and play a guy like Westwood at half the ownership, just as much upside. So, Gooch was struggling on Sunday. He did get it back together towards the end. So he's going to be popular for good reason, but that's making me want to lead to play a guy like Lee Westwood. Van Rooyen, I'm not going to play. Palmer, no. Knox is getting some talk. I never play him. Not playing any of these guys. Kisner. Seems like just a place where if Kisner can get tied for 30th as his highest finish here type deal. Killa Keith was chalk, had a horrible weekend. I don't mind him. He seems a little too cheap. Mav McNeely, people still played him last week. He was horrible on the weekend. You only play Mav McNeely in California, so this is not California. Not playing Mav McNeely. Hoagie. Battle to make the cut. I think the wheels are going to fall off this week for Hoagie. Same with Kirk. Kirk is probably going to be another guy who's going to get some steam. 2 good finishes in a row. This field just seems too good for a guy like Chris Kirk to contend. Lonto, I had Lonto, shot like 900 on the weekend too. The guy I like the most out of the pivot of Chalky, Kirk, and Griffin is Alex Noren. Even if it's hard or it's easy, you want Alex Noren. He's been making cuts. Finished tied 5th at the Tough Honda. It's a birdie fest. We saw tied 6th at Waste Management. So I like Alex Noren a lot this week. Probably my favorite out of this bottom range besides Westwood. Finally, 6K range, Brian Harmon finished 3rd here last year. I always go to Brian Harmon. Didn't play him when he missed the cut on the number. People were tilting that. I know that, but I like Brian Harmon this week. I'm going to go quick through this last range. Mac Hughes, he just tilts me too much. Let's see, any diamonds in the rough that I'm missing here? Brendan Todd, I know shanked one in the water last year. That was pretty funny. Matt Wolf, too much water. 6,800 for Matt Wolf is kind of crazy. Thinking about like even like two years ago, you'd be paying like 9,800 for this guy, but he's just been so bad. Mito, probably going to be the chalk in this range. Too cheap, probably. 6,700 for a guy who's going to make the cut. I feel like if there's chalk 6K guy in a field with this much volatility and a course that's this tough, I don't want to play a chalk guy in the 6K range. Reevy, we saw shot like 900 literally on the weekend. Same with Troy Merritt. I don't mind Charlie Hoffman. As weird as this sounds, I know he's getting a lot of hate. Don't mind Charlie Hoffman as a GPP low-owned flyer. Fratelli, we like him at tough course. If it plays tough, Dylan Fratelli, I keep riding him. He's not doing horrible. Low-owned. Now I'm going to keep riding Fratelli. Lucas Herbert played in Showdown. I like him this week a lot. You hope it's tough. Lucas Herbert will be there in contending if it's tough. He's a guy who's like 0.1% owned he could be, and he could absolutely crush. Higo was horrible. I like Higo usually, but not this week. I think one last guy to mention, Adam Hadwin. Really good course history here. Been okay this year. Not a guy I usually play, but I'll sprinkle in some Adam Hadwin. And one last play, Thomas Peters, 6,300. People like playing him. He made the cut on the number. It's tough. That's where you want these European guys. Other than that, it's just GPP or bust. All right, so that's it. We'll have Showdown content. I've been crushing Showdown course, so make sure you guys join that. Our Patreon, $20 a month. Soccer coming up. So we'll see you guys next week. Peace.